Town for you?
Cape Town was lit.
All the way.
It was lit. Second time being back there.
Can we talk about how great the housemates looked? All of them came serving looks, as in they all looked beautiful. I liked how Groovy answered this question. He went straight to the point. Cape Town was great, and I wish Fina did the same instead of giving an attitude. I understand as a female, but I mean, it should have just ended there. Cape Town was great, and that's it.
About Cape Town and the dynamics here that stood out for you.
Yes.
Which one, or what exactly?
Like, everybody will be gathered here. The next thing you're seeing tweets flying, and you're like, how?
Give me just one example.
Like Elo Swag.
Okay.
Elo Swag was.
I saw that.
You saw it, right? And I'm like.
What prompted that?
Exactly. I don't know. And I think the following day when he said this, I think it was about Adekunle.
Wait, like, so that let's get the story. What did Adekunle do?
Adekunle tweeted something. According to him.
Do you guys remember the whole link situation of Adekunle's newsletter when Twitter, was on fire, considering the things that he said in his newsletter? Christio looks mighty fine, by the way.
What was the link he tweeted? It was a newsletter. About what? Your events in Cape Town. Yes, your events in Cape Town. It was everything.
Adekunle. Was the newsletter really about your events in Cape Town?
When I saw it, and then the next thing I've seen Elo Swag trending, I'm like, what is Swag do?
What did you see that made you tweet that?
What I saw was going live, right? It's not by going live or something like that. That line, I'm like,
Okay, so he was talking about the fact that you
like
guys go live too much.
They go live, but they don't live their lives or something like that. So I was like,
did you ask him about it?
No, I just felt like, let me just use the ask button. Let's him just talk to the people there.
Did you ever ask him about it?
It wasn't a necessary beef or anything. It was just, okay, use the app.
Shout out to Illustrag for going live that period, I beg, because he kept us in the loop on things. And really, though, he was right. If Adekunle wanted to say something, he should have used his hat. Because we all know he was shading people. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he was shading people.
I didn't know he was talking about me. You didn't see I didn't know it was about me because I wasn't taking a swipe at him. The live part was to my fans. So he never always asked me to go live, and I'm like, something about it's not about living, going on live. Some of us want to live. Who were you talking about? My fans, me. Okay. They were asking me to always go live. So the newsletter, I sent it to my fans. But apparently some other people have subscribed to my newsletter, so they took screenshots, put it on the internet, and created a narrative out of it.
I mean, Adekunle, we all know the newsletter was to your fans, but if we're being honest, you definitely took a swipe at people. It may not have been directed at Elo Swag in particular, but you took a swipe at a number of your housemates. In your newsletter, come on now, let's be honest. I mean, I like you, you're a smart young man, but
I think another thing
be honest,
read. Cape Town was this thing about a brand of tequila. Yeah, that was quite interesting with you and Azu Sheks.
Yeah.
Where did it start from? I don't know who knows where it started, Adekunle and Sheks. So let me start with you, Sheks. What was it about that situation? What exactly happened?
Obviously, we've acknowledged that he wrote a newsletter. I think in his newsletter, he basically said, everything that your faves are doing is sponsored by Pepsi.
Adekunle actually did say this because I remember Twitter went on fire that day and people started dragging Sheks, basically saying it was fake money or whatever. So he was posing even when it was Pepsi that bought the Azul and all of that. I believe, to be honest, most of these parts in Adekunle's newsletter wasn't really necessary because we all knew the beef he had with Sheks in the house. Come on, Adekunle, just admit and let's move on.
Because we were all doing our own things, like, let's say, need to act like I have so much money, but bro, I'm not being sponsored, this coming out of my pocket.
So what was your reaction to that?
I basically tweeted that, Nami by the Azul. Why are you saying this? Like, I was in the club, I bought this just to have fun with my friends. It was even on a low key, I promise you, Ibuka, like, anyone that's honest will tell you it was on a low key. Wasn't even.
That sounds like shit. Because if I say everything your fave is doing is sponsored by Pepsi, it literally means nobody here is flexing without money that was given to them. Right? So what was the intention in that?
The beautiful thing, right? He just said it was very low key, which means a lot of people didn't know. I didn't know there was an Azul situation until
Okay, this is the part I don't understand, Adekunle, because if you weren't aware of the whole Azul situation because you guys were not in the same section, why allude to it? Or was it that people misconstrued it and just blew it out of proportion? Because you saying making that statement in your newsletter just made it seem as though Shegs was flaunting what he was not meant to be flaunting because it was in him spending the money.
And
Were you in the club?
Yeah, I was in the club, and I'm actually going there. If
Were
we're
you all
going
together?
No, that's where I was going to. If we're going to be very honest with each other, we weren't in the same section in the club. So I didn't know anything that was going on at the other side of the club. And I think I was part of the first set of people to leave the club. So when I put out the newsletter and I saw the Azul issue, honestly, I was confused because I didn't even know there was an Azul situation.
So if you didn't know there was an Azul situation, why did you make that statement in your newsletter, basically implying that people are spending Pepsi's money and pretending that it's theirs? I honestly feel like there's something you're holding back or you're not saying because I don't understand. It's definitely not clear.
So when you saw the reaction to it, what did you think? Because, I mean, everybody can't be wrong, right?
Yeah.
It seemed to everybody, and even I guess some of the housemates, that you were throwing shade at people. Endo caught his stray bullets, Checks caught his own. It was like you were literally directing things at people. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, but back of my mind,
So when you saw the reaction to your newsletter, what did you think?
I couldn't make sense of anybody.
No, but
directly.
apparently you said some shots.
Which
got
one?
some people in the newsletter.
No, but you know, the issue, can I be fair, right?
Yeah.
The issue that's a drama is it happened last year in another country. This is almost a year after and it's coming back again. We were all in the same environment. Christy O was the only person that came to me to ask me how far, like, what's up with.
You definitely have to be joking. They should come to you to ask you about what you wrote about them.
That's a fair point.
I'm confused. No, Ebuka, I definitely disagree. It's not a fair point.
Right.
They didn't have to ask him anything.
At who now?
I
Or
don't know.
everybody?
Most people.
Okay.
So Azul was written at that point. And that's one thing about internet. I don't know how they got to know that Sheiks ordered Azul. Who ordered Azul? Who ordered Azul's reading?
Completely agree with
So,
Bella on this.
next day,
He was
just-
shading different people.
Like,
It was
I
a
wish
very
people
clear
like this on
shade.
the screen now. It was a shade. So he tried to.
He just said now, there's 28 of you guys. Only Christy O came to say, what the hell was that about? Why do you think nobody did that?
Okay, but he went on the internet to say something. Why didn't he come to us to tell us before he?
Trust Mrs. Ikoyi to do voucher for a guy, but she's really spot on this. Really, why did they have to come and meet him if he didn't come to meet them in the first place?
I feel like what he did on the internet, people will reply on the internet as well.
Out of all this, the one thing that hurts me the most about this newsletter saga is people genuinely read it. Because at the end, at the tail end, I genuinely put like level 1, I'm proud of you guys, I wish you guys well. Level 2, I can't wait. Like, I'm not afraid. If I want to use my art, I will use my art. If I want to solve anybody, I will solve you directly and nothing will happen. Generally, there was a whole lot going with me. In retrospect, looking back, yes, it may have looked like, I was coming for people directly, but
Finally, this is what I expected you to say all along, instead of going round and round and round. What I don't understand actually, Shao, is this one with Taylor Swag. Because I really thought they were good in the house.
That was a big dynamic when the levels were still separate. And it was one of those moments viewers used to wait for. Saif and Doiny, they meet on a Saturday and, the whispers and the kisses and all of that. Now, what was that for you at the time?
At the time, I was really attracted to his confidence. Confidence is a very big thing for me. And I think Big Brother corrected, because Big Brother pronounced his name the wrong way, I think. So I really liked it, and I was like, oh, who's this guy, right? And then I spoke to him, I think, once I greeted him once when we were leaving the arena, and it was very pleasant, right? And then we met again at the party, and my first impression of him was, confident and mature. And that is what I would go for.
Because you also seemed heartbroken when he left.
Yes.
Heartbroken for all of 5 minutes until Deji came and
What was
she could not see straight
especially
again.
The things you said to Deji about him?
At the time, I don't even know what I was thinking. It was very low of me to have made such comments. Because I can imagine how hurt he would have been. I think I talked down on his fiscal loads, and I apologize for that. So I'm really sorry, and I've apologized to him.
If there's one thing I like about this girl doing is the fact that she's able to own up to her shit and she's able to apologize once she realizes she's wrong. So I'm very happy that she did this. However, I would have liked that Ebuka asked Saif how he felt, because I mean, he allowed Khalid and Daniela to speak. He allowed all the other people in their different situations to speak. So I would have preferred if he allowed Saif to talk at least, because he was involved in this situation as well.
Not bonding with your level guy.
Ebuka, honestly, I don't even know the answer to that question. I just think...
Sorry to cut you off, because now I always like to look at these things from the perspective of those of us who were watching. And there's always a talk about everybody can do wrong. And there were more people who thought that way really. So did you think it was something?
No, I don't think I did anything wrong. I think I just have a different approach towards competition in general. It's not even about the house. But I also realized that a lot of the people that I was in the same house with didn't have the same mindset towards like competing, right? For me, I feel like we should compete and put all our energy in our tasks. I felt like my housemates at the time were being very personal about the competition, and I wasn't comfortable.
Not quite. I agree with you to some extent as well, but at some point you were doing too much a bit, because I mean, it's a competition as well, but you got too emotional. I understand it's because you're a very loyal person, and I really can't fault you for that.